Yeah. See, y'all get a little bit more enthused about being here on this Shabbat.
Make sure y'all mute your phones.
Yes, mute your phones, mute your phones, mute your phones. Don't ruin the movie by adding your own soundtrack.
No, that's right. That's the movie.
For those of you that are new, we face the east where we pray towards the land of the Most High. This is what he agreed with Solomon for us to do in the land of our enemies, for him to hear our prayers. Any questions about it, we'll go over it at the end. We'll be reading Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter, the 4th verse. First, I'll say it in English, and you're going to recite it after me in Hebrew. All right? Following that, we're going to read the commandments. That's your back. Following that, we're going to read the commandments. Exodus chapter 20. All right? Everybody good with that? Hallelujah.
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 All right. This is Devarim, or Deuteronomy chapter 6 at verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael.
Yahuwah Elohim.
Yahuwah Elohim.
Yahuwah Echad.
Yahuwah Echad.
This is Shemot, or Exodus chapter 20 and verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones.
We will have no other mighty one
Against the Most High.
against the Most High.
We will not make any carved image.
We will not make any carved image
Or any likeness.
or any likeness
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
of that which is in Shamayim above,
Or which is in the earth beneath.
or which is in the earth beneath,
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
or which is in the waters under the earth.
We will not bow down to them.
We will not bow down to them,
Nor serve them.
nor serve them.
Yahuwah
For
El
Yahuwah
is a jealous
is
El,
a jealous God,
visiting the wicked
visiting the wicked
of the fathers on the children,
of the fathers on the
to
children,
the third and fourth
to
generation
the third and fourth generation
of those that hate him,
of those that hate him,
but showing
but
kindness
showing
to
kindness
thousands of those
to thousands of
who
those
love him
who love
and
him
keep his commandments.
and keep his commandments.
We will not bring the name
We will not bring the
of
name
Yahuwah El
Yahuwah
to nothing.
to nothing.
For Yahuwah
For Yahuwah
will not leave us unpunished,
will not leave us
who
unpunished.
brings his name to nothing.
Bring his name to nothing.
We will remember the Shabbat day,
We will remember the Shabbat day.
to keep it Kodesh.
Keep it Kodesh.
6 days we will labor,
6 days we will labor,
do all our work.
do all our
But
work.
the seventh day
But the seventh day
is the Shabbat.
is the Shabbat.
Yahuwah El.
Yahuwah
For in 6 days,
for in 6 days,
Yahuwah made Shamayim,
Yahuwah made Shamayim
and the earth,
and the earth
and the sea,
and the sea
and all that is in them,
and all that is in them,
and rested the seventh day.
and rest the seventh day.
Therefore, Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day.
Therefore, Yahuwah brought the Shabbat day.
We will respect our fathers
We respect our fathers
and our mothers,
and our mothers,
so that our days are long
so that our days are long
upon the earth.
upon the earth.
We will not murder.
We will not murder.
We will not commit adultery.
We will not commit adultery.
We will not steal.
We will not steal.
We will not bear false
We
witness
will not bear false witness
against our neighbor.
against our neighbor.
We will not covet
We will not covet
anything
anything
that is our neighbor.
that is our neighbor. Father, Yah, we give thanks for this day, for the opportunity to come together, Father, to praise your name, Father, to give you the esteem, Father, the honor, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would allow your word to go forth, Father, without hindrance and without obstacle, Father. Allow your word to fall on the ears of your people, Father, so that it may grow in their hearts, Father, so that we all may be diligent doers of your word, Father. Father, we pray for every soul that is watching the live stream, Father, they would be edified according to your word, Father. And you would allow your Ruach, Father, to give understanding unto the hearer and utterance unto the speaker, so that we all may be doers. Father, we pray for any soul that is in transit, Father, you would allow them to make it here safely, Father. We just ultimately thank you, Father, for this day, Father, for your commandments, Father, that was given to us to be assigned between you and I, between you and us, Father, that we would be your people, Father, and you would be our power. Father, all these things we pray and we give thanks. So be it.
So be it.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, it's the levels. It's the levels. It's levels to this.
All right, everybody. Now, y'all know we don't have our drummer here today. So y'all just bear with us. We gonna let these voices and where is hold on. Got to have you up. Got to have you up.
Sing your voice. There you go. There you go. Mic check. You good? Yes. All right. So y'all know the words to this song. So we all came here today, right? And we came here to worship the Most High through His Son. Yes. Hallelujah. The doors were open when we got here. We was welcome in. Everybody was welcome, right? That's right.
So what would we be if we didn't extend our arms to welcome in the Most High and His Son, right? So y'all know how the song goes. All right? Come in the house. Come in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Come in the house. Everybody. Come in the house. Come in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Yahushua, you are welcome. Come in the house. One more time, y'all. Tell them. Come in the house. Come in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Come in the house. Let your ruach in the house. Let your ruach in the house. Let your ruach in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your ruach in the house. Let your ruach. Let your ruach in the house. Let your ruach in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your ruach in the house. Let your power in this house. Let your power in the house. Let your power in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your power in the house. Let your power again. Let your power in the house. Let your power in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your power in the house. He said, let your love. Let your love in the house. Let your love in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your love in the house. One more time. Let your love in the house. Let your love in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your love in the house. Now y'all know how Brother Johnny do, right? You done been in here. You ain't hugged nobody. You ain't say shalom to nobody. You gotta get out here, hug somebody. Somebody you ain't hugged all day. Get somebody to hug. Let your love Johnny ain't here, but we can hug him, right? Let your love in the house. Love in the house. Love in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your love in the house. Let your love in the house. Love in the house. Let your love in the house. Oh, Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your love in the house. Let your love in the house. Lift your voice up. Let your love in the house. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your love in the house. One last time, y'all. Let your love in the house. Let your love in the house. Yahushua, you are welcome. Let your love in the house. Hallelujah. 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 Y'all gonna have to help me out. I ain't never ran praise and worship. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to help me out a little bit. Right? That's right. Now, what does hallelujah mean? I couldn't hear y'all. Hallelujah means praise you, Yah. Right? So who those praises belong to? Belong to him and him alone. Not man, not your job, not your circumstance, not nothing that's going on in your life deserves praise like the Most High deserves praise, right? We're going to get into something. We ain't did this one in a long time. We're going to get into something. Hallelujah. 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 This is a song we used to do a while back. I think it's most of the time to get it. But actually what you'll be doing is like we sing one part and everybody else will sing the same part. And I'll bring y'all in, I'll play the same, y'all can make it right. Whatever he sings, you'll be singing the same way. Alright? But it's going to start off nice and melodic for our brother here. Say it. Come on. Yeah, I got you. Alright, now remember what we said about hallelujah, right? Yeah. All praise is due to the Most High, right? Yeah. Alright. Here we go. My hallelujah belongs to you. Yeah. My hallelujah belongs to you. you. My hallelujah belongs to you. Somebody say why? You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Everybody say it quick. Come on, y'all. My hallelujah belongs to you. Yeah. My hallelujah belongs to you. Hallelujah. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. Let's tell her why. You deserve it, y'all. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. All the esteem. All the esteem belongs to you. Okay. All the esteem belongs to you. All the esteem belongs to you. All the esteem belongs to you. Let's lift your voice and tell them why again. You deserve it. 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 Now say, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. All the esteem, all the esteem, all the honor, and all the praise, You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. One more time. I'm going to say, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Say hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Say all the esteem, all the esteem, all the honor, and all the praise, You deserve it. 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 One more time. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. All right, sir. Come on now. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs Hallelujah. Now, this is a song. This is new. This is new. Martin had us rehearsing this week, right? Hopefully y'all feel this because we did, right? Praise and worship rehearsals. They got there, huh? I want everybody to deep inside. Open yourself up to let the Nazi spirit come in. We have a lot of things that been going on. We're not camp. We've been other camps. We have brothers and sisters all over the city and all over the United States. One of the biggest problems is they've been dealing with their own personal issues. You know, I got a sickness and I can't overcome. I got pains and I can't overcome. I got financial problems and I can't overcome. I got kids that's driving me crazy. I can't overcome. Now, how in the world are you going to be close to the Messiah if you're so busy dealing with your personal problems? I said, it's time for us to release those personal problems. It's time for us to reach out and let the Messiah do repentance. We got to come back to the Messiah. Because without him, we have no excellence. This is our way to come to the Messiah. Okay. We want y'all to listen to the words of this song. We're going to sing this over and over. Deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me. Hurt me. Oh, yeah. Deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me. Hurt me. Yeah. Deliver me. 'Cause all I seem to do is hurt me. Hurt me. Oh, God. Oh, God. Deliver me. 'Cause all I seem to do is hurt me. Hurt me. Sing it up. All I see is hurt me. Oh, all I do is hurt me. Hurt me. Yeah. Bring it on down. Anybody in here needs some deliverance tonight? What should I say today? What's up, Israel? Stand up, Israel. I got too much Israel sitting down back here. I know somebody that needs some deliverance in here. I know somebody that's going through some hurt. I know somebody going through some pain. I know somebody going through some marriage problems. I know somebody that's going through some illnesses. I know somebody that's got some death in their family. We need some deliverance, Israel. We gotta reach up to the Most High with our praise, Israel. We gotta give him all our praise, people. If we want to be delivered, if we want our salvation, if we want to see the Messiah, we gotta give our praise. We can't be sitting down on our hands. We can't be sitting on our phones. We gotta thank the Most High. We gotta give all our praises to the Most High. Come on. Sing that song one more time. All right, y'all. All right. Deliver me. Deliver me. Deliver me. Deliver me. Pray about that. I want us all just try to pray with us as we sing this song, because we want the Spirit to move in you. We don't want to force it, but we want the Most High to know that we appreciate the Most High in us. We want our brothers and sisters to know that we really want to praise the Most High. And every day, not just today, but every day. But right now, while we start now, we need to pray for ourselves to praise Him today. Let's start with today. And tomorrow it will be easy, but let's start with today. Let's deliver. Let's have Him deliver us. We can have our excuse. We can all get away from all these terrible things that happen. All right now? Whoa, 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 deliver me, deliver me, whoa, 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 deliver me. Deliver me. Awesome. Oh, 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 deliver me. Yeah. Come on, sing it, y'all. Deliver me. Yeah, sing it again, y'all. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 deliver me. Deliver me. This is my Hallelujah. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. Deliver me. Deliver me. This is my exodus. Deliver me. You want to be delivered? This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. Deliver me. Hallelujah. Deliver me. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. Deliver me. Deliver me. Deliver me. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. Deliver me. Deliver me. Come on. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. Deliver me. Deliver me. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. This is my exodus. Deliver me. Deliver me. Deliver me. Deliver me. Y'all ready for some work? Y'all want some more praise and worship. Y'all ready for some work? Hallelujah. Leave them on. Leave them on. Boy said, y'all ready to go.
Look. Hallelujah.
Brother Slade said we got it popping.
Now tell me, my Aunt Trav
Man, watch out.
ain't a real pastor.
Watch out. There you go.
After those notes,
Don't cook his phone. Hey,
tell me.
grab the other one. I want to test them. Turn the other one on.
Test.
Keep going.
Test. Can you hear me in the back?
Hold on. Keep going.
Can you hear me in the back? Test. Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Hey, quiet.
1, 2.
1, 2. Speaking to the one he was on.
Check 1, 2, 1, 2.
All right, we're done.
Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
All right.
Trav. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2.
How many mics up there?
3. Grab a couple more pictures.
Get your pastor glove.
Handkerchief.
Hold on. You need one?
I need one.
Open my eyes, speaking out their fast. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Just a brownie to me.
Sorry.
Thank you for the brownie.
Just
Brownie.
a brownie, huh?
Sorry. I apologize. Oh, you got to get the right fold. Huh?
Oh. Like this. Notes, make faces.
We got into it a little bit, yeah.
Oh, you was in
Shabbat shalom. Y'all hear me good? All right, y'all. Let's get into a little bit of word. Today. I posted something in the inbox this week. Anybody see it?
I saw it.
You saw it? Anybody else see what I posted in the inbox yesterday? Was it yesterday? Wednesday. Thursday. I laid it off by saying all for one and one for all. Anybody see that?
Yeah, I did.
Can anybody give me anything else that was mentioned in that rant? Because it was a rant. Anybody else remember anything else? Other than all for one, one for all? It was concerning marriage. But what about it though? Not just marriage in general, but the fact that we're supposed to be here for one another whenever we called upon, right? Not to leave the other hanging dry. So with that mentality,
All for one and one for all. We're going to walk through a couple things today. All right? The title of this lesson is, Am I My Brother's Keeper? Now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear, Am I My Brother's Keeper? Somebody be honest with me. New Jack City. Nino Brown. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Go ahead, sister. Yeah. We ought to what? We ought to cover one another. I like that. Anything else come to mind other than Nino Brown? Y'all ain't had no business watching that nowhere. Who is Nino Brown? I don't need. Did I see you? I don't know. Anybody else got anything else on Am I My Brother's Keeper?
Where the first time you ever heard that from?
First time you ever heard it was where? Cain and Abel. Nino Brown did not invent that saying. They got it from out the book. Now, who said, Am I my brother's keeper? Cain. No, not Nino Brown. We off Nino. Cain said it. Now, we're going to take a look at what he said in totality and why he said it. All right? Psalms 133 and verse 1. So this lesson is entitled, Am I My Brother's Keeper? All for one and one for all. Do we actually understand what this means? Do we get it? Do we get it?
The book of Psalms, chapter 133 and verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
What's that?
One moment, please. Read it again, please.
The book of Psalms, chapter 133 and verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
And fight.
In unity.
So how good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity, right?
In unity.
What that mean? What does that mean? How good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. What does that mean? On one accord, one mind, in unity, unison. Right? When you look at that word, unity, it's tell you to be like-minded. Right? Of the same mind. Right? So we can't, it's hard to dwell together in unity and be pleasant amongst each other if we're not like-minded. But we in here are all believers, yes? So in theory, we should all be what? Like-minded, which means it should be pleasant to dwell amongst each other. Yeah? That's book, right? But there are people that don't necessarily feel that way. It's people in here that say, I would rather just watch it on TV than to come in person. Because of some things that transpire, right? So the only way to get that out is to preach it out. Right? So that's what we're going to do.
Preach it out or preach it out? What you say? Teach it out or preach it out?
Teach it out and preach it out. Right? Give me that one more time. Psalms 133 and 1.
Book of Psalms, chapter 133 and verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
So I asked a question last week to the brothers. We were sitting up in the front. I don't know if y'all remember. I asked each and every brother that was up here, I said, am I responsible for you? No, I said, are you responsible for me? Y'all remember that question?
Yeah.
I said, are you responsible for me? We got a different range of questions. Some said yes, some said no, right? But I'm going to ask that question to everyone out there. Are y'all responsible for me? I'm not responsible for myself?
Absolutely.
That too? So if y'all are responsible for me, that means that I am what?
responsible for y'all.
That's right.
Because we're supposed to be dwelling together in what? Unity and harmony. But we can't dwell together in unity and harmony if my family is eating to the full and your family's stomach is touching their back. I don't work like that. We can't dwell together in harmony and unity if you going through hell at your household and I'm going through peace. Because when we come amongst each other, it's going to show. There's no harmony in that. Romans chapter 15 and verse 5. Sorry.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 5. Now the Elohim of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded one toward another.
The Elohim of what?
Of patience.
So the God of patience. What else?
The Elohim of patience and consolation.
And consolation, we went over that consolation, right? That reward, right? It says that he grants you to do what?
Grant you to be like-minded.
To be like-minded. Why do he tell us to be like-minded? So we can be one, right? Now, I'm going to ask y'all this. What governs your body? On a natural level. Your brain, your mind, right? Oh, what you got there, Cole? You give me 1 Corinthians chapter 11 at verse 1.
First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of a Mashiach.
He said, be you followers of me as I am of the Mashiach, right? Read.
Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinance as I have delivered them unto you.
Yeah.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach.
The head of the man is who?
Mashiach.
It's Mashiach. So in a natural sense, he would be our what? Our head, our mind, right? Because he's supposed to govern what we do in our bodies. Yes? Read.
And the head of the woman is the man.
Same thing when it comes to a wife or to a daughter, right? They're subject to their father or to their husband, right? Because he's supposed to guide and lead the family, yes? So that would be her head. Read.
And the head of the Mashiach is the Most High.
And the head of Mashiach is the Most High, which governs him. So if the woman's head is the man, and the man is governed by Mashiach, because that's who his head is, and Mashiach is governed by the Father, because that's who his head is, that means we all just governed under what? Under the Most High. And that's how we should act, right? So when you want to walk out the door, there's one thing in your brain that tells you go that way. And what starts to happen? Your feet start moving. Your legs start to pick up stride, right? Because it's under one mind. Hold on to that. Romans chapter 15 and 5 again.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 5. Now the Elohim of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded one toward another, according to Yeshua HaMashiach, that you may, with one mind.
That you may with what?
With one mind.
With one mind. Read.
And one mouth.
And one what?
And one mouth.
Go ahead.
Esteem Elohim.
So with one mind and one mouth, we give all praises to the Most High. Right? Now, when there's a mind, there's a what? There's a body. We are a part of the body. Hold on to that as well. Philippians chapter 2, verse 1. I won't be before y'all long, I don't think.
The book of Philippians chapter 2 at verse 1.
Yeah.
If there be therefore any consolation in Mashiach,
If there be any consolation, any reward in Mashiach, in the Savior, who everybody calls Jesus Christ, right? If there be any reward in him, read.
if any comfort of love,
If any what?
comfort of love,
If any comfort of love in him, read.
if any fellowship of the Ruach,
If any fellowship of the Ruach. So all of these things are contingent on one thing. Read.
if any bowels of mercies, fulfill you my joy.
He says, fulfill you his what?
My joy.
We've been talking about joy the whole time, right? He said, fulfill you this joy. If you want any of these things, fulfill this joy that what?
That you be like-minded.
That you be what?
Like-minded.
That we all be like-minded. Because to be like-minded is to have the mind of who? Mashiach, which is ultimately to have the mind of the Most High. But if each and every one of us don't have that mindset, if we don't have the all for one, one for all mindset in here, the body is going to deteriorate. Because everything that the body does is for another part. It's not for itself. We'll see that in a second. So we know that the book says, can two walk together unless they be what? What do that mean? Unless they agree on what? Where they going? Hey, bro, we going to the store. What store we going to? The one on the corner. Now we can walk together. But if I say, hey, bro, we going to the store, and you say, no, I'm going to the market, guess what we not going to be doing? Walking together. We're going to be like this. Right? So when we're walking together, we all have to be in agreement with one another. We got to be like-minded. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12.
Chapter 12, verse 12.
Chapter 12, verse 12. The direction has to be the same. The destination has to be the same for us to walk together. But if all you worried about is your own affairs, if all you worried about is your own household, if all you worried about is your own finances, if all you worried about is your own problems, you can't help me. Because if Mashiach was worried about his own, we wouldn't be here. Y'all hear me?
Yep.
We're supposed to follow after his example. That means you're not here for you. Look to your left, look to your right, look behind you, and look in front of you. That's who you're here for. The things that the Most High give you are not only for you. They for everybody else. Well, we're going to see that. Somebody said, no, man, should I work for mine? I know y'all, I hear what you're thinking. 1 Corinthians 12 and 12.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 12.
Yeah.
Whereas the body is one.
Whereas the body is what?
One.
The body is what?
One.
The body is one. Read.
And have many members.
And have what?
Many members.
Have many members. Read.
And all the members of that one body, being many,
being what?
Are being many.
Are what?
Are one body.
Are one body. Can I get a volunteer to stand up for me? Let's need one volunteer. All right, come on, bro. Stand in the middle aisle. I need everybody, first off, give a round of applause to the young brother who wanted to be. All right. I want y'all to pay attention to this demonstration. Have me and you talked today? Did I tell you about what I'm about to do right now? Okay. Read what you got again.
1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 12. Whereas the body is one and have many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Hamashiach.
Do me a favor. Touch your ear. I want y'all to keep count of how many body parts we name. Now this is going to mean something. It seems elementary, but it means something. All right? Touch your ear. Y'all ain't counting. 2 ears, right? Touch a nostril. Touch your other nostril. Raise your hand. Raise your arm. Put down your pinky finger. Put down your index finger. Put down your middle finger. Put down your ring finger. Put down your thumb. Raise your other hand. Raise your arm. Put down your thumb. Index. Middle. Ring. Pinky. Touch your chest. Touch your leg. Touch your knee. Touch your thigh. Wiggle your foot. Wiggle your toes. 28. Right? Is it 29? 29? All right, 29. Shake the other foot. Wiggle your toes. Now that ain't all the body parts, right? But that's 35. Right? Now, all of those body parts assist in something else that has nothing to do with itself. Watch this. Watch this. Your leg is itching right now. All right, stop. What just happened?
He used his hands, his fingers.
He used what?
Back.
His hand, his fingers, his back, his arms, to do what?
His eyes.
To scratch one part of his body. Your foot hurt. Right? So now his body is trying to balance so he can tend to his feet. You washing your hands, brother. Can you wash your hands by themselves? What has to take place? In order to get a proper clean, the other hand has to wash the other one. You got to bend down into the sink.
One hand.
You got it, right? So this goes to show you that our natural body does everything that the Ruach wants us to do as a spiritual body. That makes sense to y'all? Appreciate you all. Right? So if me and my household is going through an itch, the rest of the body is going to try to get that itch satisfied. Does that make sense? So if anybody is going through something in our congregation and we don't all come to the rescue, we don't have a like mind. We have a mind of our own. Woo! Make sense? All right. Pick it up at Genesis chapter 2. In verse 7. We're going to look at something real quick.
Verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7.
The book of Genesis chapter.
Hold on to that body, that whole thing for a minute, because we're going to come back to it, right? What we got to understand is our own desire is our own mind. Can you imagine if you're holding a baby in one hand and your leg starts to itch, but this hand says, I ain't scratching. That don't even make sense, do it? It doesn't at all, because naturally, without even thinking, the first thing that hand is going to go do is scratch. But we have to think about going to help other people. We got to think about, we're all believers. We're supposed to be under the same mind. There should be nobody in here that's suffering without somebody else coming to assist. Right? Genesis chapter 2. Hold that thought. We're going to jump into something else real quick. Genesis chapter 2, pick it up at verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. And Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Yeah.
And man became a living soul.
Man became what?
A living soul.
Man became a living soul. Was there a purpose for this man? Keep reading. Matter of fact, drop down to verse 15.
Verse 15. And Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden.
He took the man, put the man in the Garden of Eden to do what?
To dress it.
To dress it and to what?
And to keep it.
And to keep it. That's what he did with that man. He put him in the garden, dress it, and to keep it, right? What was in that garden? Plants, what else? Animals, trees, food, right? Now, the garden was actually there to supply the man and everything that he needed. But the man was told to guard it and protect it. What is that word for keep it right there? Shema, to guard, right? To protect. He was guarding and protecting the very thing that the Most High gave to him for a benefit. That makes sense? Right? All right. What verse is it?
15.
Keep reading.
Verse 16. And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every green tree of the garden you may eat, you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it.
We're not going to go into that particular part of the story, but you understand that everything that was in the garden was meant for this man to survive. Right? So if it was meant for him to survive and he had to guard it, that means he was working for it, it was working for him. Yes? Okay. Exodus chapter 16. Verse 28. Yep. Exodus chapter 16, verse 28.
The book of Exodus chapter 16 and verse 28. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws?
He said, how long refuse you to do what?
Keep my commandments and my laws.
To keep my commandments and my laws. What is that word right there? In the group? Shema. For keep. Same word that he used for Adam and God. To guard, to protect. Now, who does the law benefit? Us. Don't eat certain foods. Your benefit. Don't do certain things for your benefit. So it would only be right for you to do what with those? Protect them. Do them. Observe them. Right? Y'all follow me so far? All right. Exodus chapter 31, verse 16. 31:16.
The book of Exodus chapter 31 and verse 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat.
To do what?
Shall keep the Shabbat.
Now, what is the Sabbath? What is it, brother? It's a day of rest. Holy, set apart unto who? Unto the Most High. And who did he give it to? Gave it to us. Also, for our what? For our benefit. So he tells you right here that you're supposed to do what with it?
Shall keep the Shabbat, or to observe the Shabbat throughout your generations for a perpetual covenant.
So he told us, listen, this is the Shabbat. I give this Shabbat to you for you to keep it, observe it, protect it, guard it. It's for you, but I need you to protect it. I need you to do it. Right? Because what happened once we stopped keeping the Shabbat? What did he do to us? Got us up out of the land. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 40. Y'all follow me so far? We good? Okay. We're going to get into something real quick.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse, was that 40?
40, yep.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 40.
Bob, you get Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 1.
You shall keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you.
That it may do what?
That it may go well with you.
If you keep them, it's going to be well with you. This is for your benefit. He said, I set before you life and good, death and evil. Choose life. This is for your well, this is for your good. Right? Read.
That it may go well with you. And with your children.
And with who?
And with your children.
And with your children. If all you do is guard, protect, and observe his commandments. Deuteronomy 5 and 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 1. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and the judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them.
That you may what?
That you may learn them.
There's another component to keeping. Is to first do what?
Learn them.
Learn them. Because once you learn them, you get a relationship with them and why you have to do these things, right? So once you're acquainted with these commandments and these statutes, and you understand why they're for your benefit, it's easier for you to do what? To keep them, right? Go ahead.
That you may learn them and guard them.
Learn them and do what?
And guard.
Learn them and guard them.
And do them.
And what?
And do them.
Learn them, guard them, do them. That's the order, right? Read.
Yahuwah Elohim made a covenant with us in Horeb. Yahuwah made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day.
Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
He said he showed mercy unto who? Thousands. How many people is it in the world?
Billions.
Billions. He says he shows mercy unto thousands of those that do what?
Love him
and do what?
Keep my commandments.
Because the people that love him and keep his commandments are all what? Like-minded. Right? That was verse 10?
Yep.
All right. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. Let's get into it. So, Adam was acquainted with the garden. He was told to guard it, right? This is for his benefit. We were acquainted with the law. We were turned to learn it and guard it for our benefit. Let's look at this in Genesis chapter 4. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 1.
Let's get into Nino Brown.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahuwah. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahuwah. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock.
So both of them were giving offerings to the Most High, right? Were they like-minded in these offerings? No. Let's see why. Go ahead.
And Yahuwah had respect unto Abel and his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And Yahuwah said unto Cain, Why are you wroth? And why is your countenance fallen?
He said, what you mad for? Why your countenance done fail? Read.
If you do well, shall not you be accepted? And if you do not well, sin lies at the door.
So that's a lesson for everybody. If you do well, you'll be accepted by the Most High. If you don't, sin waiting right on you. No gray area. No gray area. But let's check it out. Let's get what we here from. Keep reading.
And if you do not well, sin lies at the door, and unto you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
So he rose up and killed his brother for his own pride, his own envy, as opposed to turning around and doing what's right. He makes the wrong wronger, and he kills his brother. Right? Read.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And Yahuwah said unto Cain, where is Abel, your brother?
He asked him a question. Did he know where Abel was? He already knew. But what was he trying to see? He was going to come clean. Now, Cain knows that the Most High know where his brother is at, because his father knew what was going on when the Most High questioned him in the garden. Right? He came in there, he says, what did he say? Where are you? He knew where he was at. Right? What have you done? He knew what he did. Same thing here with Cain. Where is your brother? What was his response? Go ahead, verse 9.
Verse 9. And Yahuwah said unto Cain, where is Abel, your brother? And he said, I know not.
He said,
Am
what?
I know not.
I don't know. What?
Am I my brother's keeper?
Am I my brother's what?
Am I my brother's keeper?
Am I my brother's keeper? Why would he ask that question? Anybody? He was being sarcastic. He know he's supposed to be his brother's keeper. Just so happened that this word here for keeper is the same word for guard, with the guard. The same word for what you're supposed to do with the commandments. To guard and protect. So essentially he asking him, I'm supposed to protect this dude? What? I'm supposed to keep up with him? He already knew he was supposed to. So I'm going to ask you, are you your brother's keeper? And if you ever have to ask that question, that means that you actually not. If your brother going through something and you can't turn around and go help him, you ain't helping guard him. You ain't helping protect him. You actually no good for him. Pick it up in Leviticus 19, verse 18. Out of his anger, he did exactly opposite of what he was supposed to do. To guard his brother, protect his brother. 1918. The Most High puts us here for each other for a reason. We can't do this walk alone, y'all. Don't nothing come by easy. So guess what? I got to lean on him in times of trouble to hold me up. When we was out there fighting and Moses had his arms down, what had to happen? They had to hoist them up because it was for the greater good of the congregation. But if you don't be the one to hold him up, you're actually the reason why they losing. Y'all ain't listening? Y'all feel me on that?
Absolutely.
Hey, you told me a story last night, right? About your sergeant. Can you share that story real quick? Matter of fact, here, come grab this mic out. Check this story out.
So, like, in basic training, like, one of the biggest things was going to sleep. Like, they did not want you going to sleep at all. And, like, they always stressed it on us to stay awake and everything. And my one drill sergeant, he was telling us a story why it was so serious. And they do this thing where it's called Bagar, where like there's always got to be somebody awake, you know, throughout the day or at nighttime, basically. And his squad was in the tank, and he fell asleep, and the enemy came in and threw grenades in the tank while he was asleep. And that's why he's stressing so much for us to stay awake at all times. Okay.
Appreciate you. So he was supposed to keep watch for his whole squad that was in this tank. But while he was supposed to be awake, he fell asleep, which ended up getting his whole squad killed. So when I ask y'all the question, are you responsible for me? This is the reason why. Every one of us are eyes for the other. Sometimes we can see spiritual attacks coming to one another before the person can see it themselves. And it's our job to go in and help. But if we play it back, they're subject to attack. Right? Leviticus 19:18.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 18. You shall not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of your people.
So what did Cain do? He avenged his own self for no reason on his brother. Read.
But you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
As your what?
As yourself.
If we were in that tank, we would want the person that's supposed to keep watch for us to be watching, right? If we're in a situation where we're on the bottom, we will want somebody else to step in and help us out, right? Not that we're depending on people to do it. Don't get me wrong, because we depend on the Most High. But at the same time, this is the job that he gave each and every member. The arm don't hesitate to scratch that leg when it's an itch on. But the arm don't feel the itch. Y'all ain't hearing. The arm don't even feel the itch. But it scratches the leg because he knows it's in need. Because it can't scratch itself. So what are we doing here if we can't come and help each other out? Everybody say the other foot. Same thing. Same thing. It can't scratch itself. But if it has to, matter of fact, when you see people that are missing arms or missing, right? Guess what their body tends to do? It starts to compensate for what's missing. So don't get it twisted. Even though it's needed, it don't mean when you leave, we're not going to be all right. We seen that with this congregation. There's been many of people that came and gone. Guess what? We still here. The body will compensate. I've seen people with no hands drive a car. I've seen people with no legs drive a car. Because the body is going to compensate. When a person is blind, that don't mean they're dead, because the body compensates. The senses start to get a little stronger, right? I want y'all to keep that in mind. Where I got you at? Leviticus 19:18. Read that again.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 18. You shall not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Love your neighbor as yourself. If it was you, right? My uncle's got a saying. He say, sometimes you, sometimes me, but always us. Right? Sometimes you going through it. Sometimes it's me going through it. But it's never you by yourself. It's always us going through it together. Sometimes you got it. Sometimes I got it. But if I got it, then we got it. Because it's always us. But if we take the mentality of I'm for me in my house, man, come on, man. We had this marriage thing we were supposed to do on Thursday, right? How many of y'all felt like, and you ain't got to answer this out loud, well, I'm straight in my house, so I ain't got to go. Or, they'll be all right. How many people felt like that? How many people felt like, well, I don't want to go in there and talk about my problems and my issues? Right?
But you don't understand that your problems and your issues can benefit somebody else. And somebody else's problems can benefit you. This is what we hear. This is the body. This is you scratching the leg. But if you worried about, now, y'all had mosquito bites before, right? Right? Now, mosquito bites don't necessarily all have to be on one part of the body. So what happens if there's a mosquito bite on the leg and on the arm? You're going to scratch them both. The arm don't say, well, I got one, so I ain't going to scratch the leg. It's still going to do its job because something else is going to come and do for him. That makes sense? The body is meant to help out the other members. This arm wasn't created for itself because it can't touch nothing on it. It was meant for everything else. No matter what you're going through, you are meant for somebody else. Right? Matthew 22:36. It's other couples, other people who have issues, man. And it's your job to love them like you love yourself. Show up for them because they need you. And you need them. Matthew 22:36.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 36. Master, which are the great commandments in the law?
What's the great commandments in the law? Which one of these we supposed to keep the most? Read.
Yeshua said unto him, you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. That is the first and great commandment.
Yeah.
And the second is like unto it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Now, I'm going to ask y'all this. Can you do one without the other? Because if you say that you love the Most High with all your heart, mind, and soul, and you don't go and be there for your brother, what did he tell you? You ain't never even seen him. You can't possibly love me if you can't love the person you with every day. And vice versa. It's impossible to do one without the other. So if you're one of those people that don't extend your arm when somebody needs help, you actually need to look and see if you really serving the Most High. Right? Read. What verse you?
That was verse. And the first, verse 39. And the second is like unto it, that you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
On these two commandments is everything. Because everything about the commandments is concerning these two things. The Most High and your brother. Now, give me Ecclesiastes 4:9. While you give me Proverbs 27:17. Like I said, I'm probably not going to be before y'all long today. We got like 20 minutes in. But I'll Ecclesiastes 4:9.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 9. Two are better than one.
Who?
Two are better than one.
One is good as long as his brain works enough for two people.
Two are better than one.
Two are better than one. Straight up and down. Wow.
Because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall.
But what?
For if they fall.
If they fall.
The one will lift up his fellow.
He's supposed to do what?
Lift up his fellow.
That's the whole key. Two people working on a job is better than one. Because if somebody get hurt, guess what happens? You got somebody else there to lift you up. We a body. What are you? What good are you here if you can't help somebody else out? What good are you? You might as well not be here because the body will compensate. If you don't have that ear that somebody can talk into when they going through it, if you can't give righteous counsel
when somebody going through it? If you can't bear one another's burdens when they're going through it, what are you here for? You might as well be like everybody else out there. I remember my old coach always telling me, hey man, what you telling me that for? I got my own problems. He used to say that all the time. I got my own problems, man. I can't help you. It's like, no, you're the coach, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you're here for. Hey, look, man, I got my own problems. He used to tell us that all the time. That's the whole point. If you are going to say you got your own problems, you might as well go out and be in the world. Ain't no need for you here. Read that again.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 9. 2 are better than 1, because they have a great reward for their labor. Mm-hmm. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. Mm-hmm. But woe to him that is alone when he falls.
Woe to him that's what?
That is alone when he falls.
Woe to him that's alone when he falls. Go ahead.
For he have not another to help him up.
What they say, if a tree fall when nobody is around, do it make a sound? It do make a sound. But who can hear it? Nobody. Imagine you being on the outside. You know when people was committing these egregious sins, and he says, and they shall be put out from among their people. Put out from, that means you got to go. Because you have no benefit here. You're a detriment here. So you have to go. Right? We're going to get into some of that. Proverbs 27:17.
Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. Iron sharpens iron.
What is it?
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Go ahead.
So a man sharpens the countenance of his friend.
So a man sharpens the what?
Countenance of his friend.
Sharpens the countenance of his friend. What do y'all think that means? Right? So think about actually what it's saying. Iron sharpens iron, right? Can the iron get sharp by itself? No. It actually needs another, y'all see on the, right? Butcher, right? In order to sharpen the one, you have to use another, right? Now, read that in the ISB. Look what it says.
Proverbs 27:17 from the ISB. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens a friend's character.
We're supposed to be helping to develop one another. Right? If your brother is overtaken by a fault this year, and the same fault he's overtaken by next year, and you didn't do nothing to help him in the year prior, you better not have nothing to say. And it's your fault because you didn't reach out to him. Because the scriptures tell you you're supposed to correct your brother when he's in the wrong. That's the difference. If you correct him, you do everything you can for him, and then he fall back into it again. That's on them. But it's your job to help out first. Right? Jump over to 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Now, with us having this whole notion of us being a body, and we understanding that with being a body comes responsibility, right? We're accountable for each other. So, if you're sick on the inside, right? Something going on, you got a virus. Does a person come up to you and say, hey man, your stomach messed up? Did they come and say that? Hey, man, it look like your esophagus sick, brother.
You got heartburn, boy.
Yeah, you got heartburn. The only way that they know something is wrong is what?
The face.
Your other body part showing it. Right? If your heart hurt, guess what you're gonna do? Because what is this hand trying to do, even though it necessarily can't? What is it trying to do?
Comforted.
Trying to comfort that pain. That's in the, right? If your knee hurt, right? If your stomach hurt on the inside, your body is trying to help relieve that pain. So let me ask y'all this. If we do see a brother that's overtaken in the fault, as a congregation, we're supposed to do what? Try to restore him into what? In the spirit of meekness. That's the first thing we're supposed to do. Let's look at what he, now, I do want to mention this. When there's issues inside of your body, the only thing I know is you sick. I'm not going to say your heart is sick. I'm not going to say your leg is sick. I'm going to say, hey, brother, you sick. And then you're going to tell me, yeah, man, I got a little heartburn. Yeah, man, I got a little stomach virus. Yeah, man, I got a, right? But initially, the only thing that I see is there's something wrong with you. So if we're a body and Mashiach is looking at us as one body, when something is going wrong, who is he looking at? Everybody. Everybody. Because it's your job to help out the other member. Man, let's see. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Pick it up at verse 1.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 1. It is recorded commonly that there is fornication among you.
So Paul is saying it's recorded commonly. What's commonly? All the time. It's recorded commonly that what?
That there is fornication among you.
That it's fornication among you. What is fornication? Sexual immorality. Right? So he says, it's reported, meaning somebody coming to tell me over and over again, it's fornication going on in there. Read.
And such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles.
It's so bad that the Gentiles ain't even doing what y'all doing. This is serious. He said, listen, the Gentiles ain't even doing this. But it's reported commonly among y'all, amongst believers. Read.
That one should have his father's wife.
That what?
That one should have his father's wife.
Y'all around there letting people go and sleep with their father's wives? This is getting put on the whole body. Now, it don't have to be this particular sin, but this is an example of what can go on or what goes on in every congregation. Right? So he says, namely that a man will have his father's wife. Read.
And you are puffed up.
And you what?
You are puffed up.
What that mean? You're prideful. And I always go back to that daggone pride. And they proud of it. They proud of it. They going around sleeping with their father's wives and proud of it. Yeah, I did it, so what?
You wasn't treating it right.
Yeah. That man, you know, he only fed her 3 times a day. You know, I can feed a little bit more than that. You know, he getting kind of old too, you know.
You need the Viagra.
Yeah. But they proud of it. Read.
And you are puffed up and have not rather mourned.
You ain't even mourned. He said you haven't mourned for this. This is supposed to be a situation that everybody lock arms on it. Man, what is y'all doing? You're not even sad about this. You're just letting it go on. Read.
And have not rather mourned that he that has done this deed might be taken away from among you.
That he did what?
That have done this deed might be taken away from among you.
You're not even mad enough to get the person who's doing this out of there. Because guess what happens to what the body looks like. You look sick. You look sick. When let's just say you got a stomach ache, and the stomach ache ain't contagious, but it's a stomach ache, and oh man, stomach hurt, and you go around some other people, what they gonna say? Hey, bro, you sick? I got to go to work, dog. You gonna have to go ahead and on with that. You gotta get up out of here, right? Y'all done had situations where your kids wasn't feeling good and take them around other people's kids. He called for get away, Go ahead, get away from my kids. Y'all, you stay over there. You do it on a natural level, right? They sick. Hey, y'all go ahead and stay home this time. We don't want to get everybody else sick. But in the congregation, in the body, you see people overtaken with faults. And something that they're proud of doing and they're openly professing it, you won't stop it. You won't say, nah, bro, you can't come and you can't come up in here with that. Because just like that sickness that's on that child, it's going to get into other people. Because once one person is allowed to do it, guess what happens? Other people don't feel like they can do it. And it goes on and on and on. Have we not seen that in here? Yes. Huh? And that's what all these congregations. Nobody is bold enough to tell somebody you out of pocket. You wrong for that. How many of y'all sisters are willing to tell another sister, you out your mind for talking to your husband like that? How many of you brothers, you out your mind for doing that to your wife? How many are willing to do it? If we a body, it should be no sweat. Somebody else's kid around here acting crazy. Hey man, tighten up. Do that. Oh, shoot, ain't my son. Huh? Well, nobody better not touch mine.
That's the word. That's the word right there.
What they say? No, we one body. But you know one of the reasons why nobody can do this out in the open is because they're overtaken with faults themselves. So I can't expose you for yours, because then mine gonna get, oh man, your baby sick, knowing that yours over here got the cost too. Your baby sick, you got to get them away. Go back, go play your nose. Right? Because now you got to put yours out there. But that's why our iron is supposed to sharpen iron. We're supposed to be building each other's character to the point where, hey, look, hey, brother, you out of pocket. And you right in what you're saying. Right? Keep reading.
For I truly. Yeah, no. For I truly, as absent in body.
As what?
As absent in body.
He like, I'm not there. Read.
But present in Ruach. Have judged already.
I'm not even there, and I know what to do with this cat. Get him out of there. He proud of it. He keep doing it. Some other people is doing it. Man, if you don't get him up out of there. Right? When we came down and we was in the wilderness and Moses came through and seen them people worshiping that God, which one of y'all is rolling with the Most High? And which one of y'all is rolling with this calf? They divided themselves. Hey, we over here with the calf, bro. We don't know what happened to you for 40 days. We see this. Kill them all. Why? Because we can't have that amongst the believers. But in order for you to feel like that, in order for you to even have that in you, you have to first be one willing to go and say, hey, bro, what is you doing? You out of pocket, bro. When you look bad, we look bad. Let's help you out. If you ain't willing to do that,
then you don't need to be here. When that elder came in here, he got to talk about all the kids that be on the phones and the games and all that. I smiled in my heart. Because he said something that a lot of people wanted to say, but never said. He was here one time and said, man, all these kids in here are looking around and on the video games. And this is for their life. And he cared enough to share that with us, right? But what do we do with it? Nothing. What do we do with it? Well, it's just going to keep them quiet. As opposed to training your child up in the way that they should go, right? That's what we're here for, right? Just like Brother Jason was saying, it don't just be the kids. Man, come on. It don't just be them. During praise and worship, hey man, you know, I see adults around here. We supposed to be worshiping and giving praises to the Most High. And they over there scrolling on Facebook. What? But the reason he can step out and say that is because, for one, he ain't doing it. And two, he cares enough about everybody in here to bring it to somebody that's going to mention it. So what are we doing? We a body, right? All right. Keep reading now.
For truly, as absent in body, but present in ruach, have judged already, as though I were present, concerning him that have so done this deed. In the name of our Master, Yeshua HaMashiach, when you are gathered together, and my ruach, with the power of our Master, Yeshua HaMashiach, to deliver such a one.
He says, when y'all are gathered together to do what?
To deliver such a one.
To deliver such a one to who?
Unto Satan.
Whoa. What do that mean? When y'all come together, deliver such a one to who? To Satan?
Tell your neighbor and say you're about to get something.
What do that mean? Read that verse. It says that when you come together, that you do what?
In the name of our Master, Yeshua HaMashiach, when you are gathered together, and my ruach, with the power of our Master, Yeshua HaMashiach, to deliver such a one unto Satan for the destruction of the flesh.
Deliver them unto Satan for the destruction of the flesh. Go ahead.
That the ruach may be saved in the day of the Master.
That the ruach might be saved in the day of the Master. What do this mean? Let him do what he want to do out the door. Because if he can do what he want to do in here, it's going to spread amongst the body. Y'all remember that story with Queen Vashti and Ahasuerus, right? When he said, he told his wife, it's the king of all these provinces. He told her, he said, look, tell my wife to come here. I want to show her off. And what she said? I ain't coming. And one of the princesses was like, hey man, if your wife don't come, none of our wives gonna come. Why? Because you the king. If your wife won't listen to you and you the king, I ain't nobody. Nobody's gonna be like, listen, the queen ain't coming, I ain't coming either. Right? Which means that all are for one and one are for all. We can't allow this type of stuff to go on inside of here, because if we do, it's going to be contagious. Right? It's going to get to a point where everybody is overtaken with this same fault. Or some people are, and it's like, oh man, that's just how the brother is. What you mean that's just how the brother is? That's just holy. You know, he only said twice a week like that. He get baptized next year. That's just him.
eyes.
That don't make sense. That's not how this supposed. That's not how this works. That's not the body, the members being of the body to work towards helping all of the body be well. If there's cancer in the leg, everything inside of the body, the white blood cells, everything is going to go straight to that leg to try to heal it. But what happens when those white blood cells are fighting and there's nothing else they can do? You got to cut the leg off. Because the leg will spread, the cancer in the leg gonna spread, and now the body has cancer. So if the leg and the arm got cancer, that means the cells from the arm can't go down and help the leg. Then the stomach, which is the core, right? Now it's too much. Now the whole body gonna die. But if you cut the leg off, the body can survive, right? So what I'm saying is, when we dealing with each other, we have to first get to a point where we love each other enough to help each other out when we're going through something. And then we have to have the heart enough to say, hey, bro, either you gonna shake that or you gotta shake out. So right here he says that you deliver one unto Satan, that the spirit may be saved, right? Y'all remember Quav's lesson on pride? Y'all remember who was mentioned to have pride that nobody thought had it? Not Moses.
Joseph.
Not Joseph. Not Abraham. Who said it? I heard Job. Job. Read that one more time out. Give me that Job. Job 1.
To deliver such an one unto Satan.
He says that you got to deliver one unto Satan to do what?
For the destruction of the flesh.
To destroy the what?
The flesh.
The flesh that what?
That the spirit may be saved in the day of the master.
That the spirit may be saved. Give me that Job 1 and pick it up in verse, what is that, 5, 6? Yeah.
Job chapter 1, verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah, and Satan came also among them.
Who came?
Satan also came among them.
Uh-huh.
And Yahuwah said unto Satan, whence camest thou? Where are you coming from? Then Satan answered unto Yahuwah and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? Hast thou considered my servant Job?
You consider Job? Read.
That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Elohim and escheweth evil.
Uh-huh.
Then Satan answered Yahuwah and said, do Job fear Elohim for naught?
Mm-hmm.
Hast not thou made an hedge about him?
Yeah.
And about his house?
Uh-huh.
And about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the works of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Yeah.
And Yahuwah said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand.
So what did he do? Test him. He casted him over to who? To Satan. That what may be well on the other side? That his ruach could be well on the other side of it. Job had a lot of stuff. Eventually, when we see through all of these great people in the scriptures, the stuff puffs them up. So what he had to do before that happened to Job, who was perfect and upright, I gotta deliver him over to him, so it'll be well with him on the other side. The difference is what we're talking about now is somebody that's already overtaken it for him. So in order for us to get to the point where it don't spread amongst the body, we gotta deliver that man up. You got to go out, bro. Hopefully, you being out there going through these trials alone, because he said the man that's by himself gonna go through it. It'll bring you back into the fold. We all done been there before in some way, shape, or form or another, right? But we got to be able to do this. We got to love each other enough first. Go to that Leviticus 19:18 again. We're about to close out in a second. See, the problem with the stuff is, like we mentioned this in actually I seen a brother on he did a Facebook live video, and he was talking about Abraham and his blessing. And for 100 years, Abraham didn't have a child, right? But he tried to make the Most High's prophecy come to pass on his own. So he and his wife, he dealt with Hagar, right? Most High said, I'm going to multiply you above the sands of the sea. So he didn't see that happening. His wife didn't see that happening, so they went and got Hagar. They tried to make the prophecy come to pass. Didn't work. Then the Most High finally gave him a son, right? So the brother says, right after that, the Most High said, well, look, I gave you this son, right? Now I need you to kill him. So he was faced with a decision. Do he go with the gift or the Most High? Do he go with the gift or the Most High? That's what a lot of us do. The Most High gave Abraham that son. Don't choose that son over him. He gave us a lot of the stuff that we have, the wealth that we have, the whatever we can say that's tangible. He gave it to us. Don't choose that over him. He gave you the job you got. Don't choose that over him, right? That's what he was trying to prevent Job from doing eventually. The Most High becomes to be in competition with the things that he provided for you. Now I got to compete with your job, and I'm the one who gave it to you. Huh? Oh, I got to put food on my table, man, so I got to... Negro, I gave it to you. But he got to compete for it. Just like he gave you your brothers and sisters. Do what you're supposed to do with them. Don't abuse it. Just like he gave you your husband or your wife or whatever have you. Don't choose them over the Most High either. You know what I'm saying? This is what he was trying to prevent. So when we got somebody amongst the body that we love and we cherish and are dear to our hearts, but they keep doing things that are contrary to his word and they won't change it up, you can't choose that person over the Most High. Make sense? But first, we got to make sure that we got that love in our heart for him. Leviticus 19:18. We got to close out. Go, you get on. Go ahead.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 18. You shall not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahuwah. You shall keep my statutes.
No, that's good. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Hebrews 10:24.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24. And let us consider one another.
Let us do what?
Consider one another.
Always consider one another. If I see one of y'all on the street in a fight, I'm pulling my car over. Oh man, I'm brother such and such. I'll be all right.
Keep going.
Keep it pushing up, man.
He like start stuff anyway.
Right, that brother always getting into something. Right? One of your brothers is hungry. He said, a person that is hungry and destitute of daily food, are you going to say, oh, brother, I'm going to pray for you? Or are you going to go over there and get something to eat? This is how we're supposed to act with each other. whenever you think about or see problems in the body, you make sure you look at your own. And you consider how every part of your body works off of your mind and how every member of the body is there to aid another member. Always keep that in mind. Read what you got again.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24.
Uh-huh.
And let us consider one another to provoke unto love.
To do what?
To provoke unto
To
love.
provoke unto love. Read.
And to good works.
And to what?
Good works.
That's how we take care of the body. Promote love and good works. If you see somebody that's doing something out of pocket, hey man, you need to tighten up. Hey sister, you out of pocket. Right? Read.
Not forsaking the assembling.
Not doing what?
Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the matter of some.
Some people do that. Some people say, I don't want to be around it. So they stay at the crib. Can't forsake the assembly. Because you forsaking the body. When you forsaking the body, you forsaking yourself. Read.
But exhorting one another.
But doing what?
Exhorting one another.
Lift each other up. Read.
So much the more as ye see the day approaching. For if we sin willfully, after that.
That's good. That's good. So with that, I ask y'all, are you your brother's keeper?
Yes.
So be it. Hallelujah.
Love it, hate it, I'll do it again, you can't stand it, do that again next time, they busted with that mic, still busted.
All right, y'all, we got any questions in here? All right, I'm gonna go to the chat. Y'all let me know if y'all got, we got questions. Okay, cool. Here we go. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. Well, yeah, first statement. I think in the everyday situation, people might think maybe something's amiss. You know, like you were saying, if you know somebody's in a fault and you approach them and you correct them or whatever, it's one thing to do that. But then if you perhaps don't know that person to that level, or different situations where you don't feel that it's appropriate for you particularly. My question is, then should it be put forward to someone in, who is like an elder or whatever? Because I think a lot of people don't say things because they think I'm thinking bad, and that's another scripture, don't think bad, first thing on your mind, you might look at someone and say, well, I know it looks like that, but maybe that's not it. I'm not even gonna go there. So a lot of times I think people aren't saying things because they figure they may be mistaken, and then they're wounding unnecessarily. So in those kind of situations, which I'm sure that's a lot, because people don't just put their business out and do things that blatantly that people aren't sure.
So the question for everybody here is more so if let's just say you don't know a person, right? Do you go to that person or do you talk to somebody else who knows that person in that way to speak to them? Is that what you're saying? Now, the one thing is you want to make sure that it's sin first. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not nothing wrong with going to leadership. It's, hey brother Quad, such and such, I'm just concerned. But the thing to remember is we're all of one body, right? So Mashiach didn't know a lot of the people he would talk to. Neither did the disciples. So if you see something that looks out of pocket, go into, as long as you do it in meekness, you know what I mean? Now, don't not come to choir. You want to go to choir. You know what I'm saying? Definitely want to go to choir. But we have to be at a place in here where we're able to accept correction. So if something appears to be evil, we shouldn't be doing it anyway. Stay away from the what?
All appearances of evil.
Stay away from the appearance of evil. So if you see somebody, look kind of, hey brother, you all right? I mean, I seen this and that. I was just concerned, man. I ain't want, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure that it's done in meekness. Make sure it's done in meekness. Who else? You sure? All right, who else? Was that satisfactory? Anybody else had a question? I know somebody else. Okay. What's up, Bob? Come on out. Ask away. You gotta put your big boy voice on.
Okay.
There we go.
So does it still count if you don't have a little brother? Okay, so let's count if you have a little brother. I don't. And I think I'm a kid, right? And I'm the one that still count, even though you're not like a brother.
If they're not a brother to you, does still count? So you saying like it's for, because you said you don't have a brother, right? So it's not talking about necessarily a physical brother that came out of my mom, right? When we talking about brothers saying amongst believers. So you believe the same thing I believe, your mom believes the same thing I believe. We all believers, which makes us brothers under the Messiah. Make sense? Good? Since you had something? You sure? Don't know how to ask it? You sure? She got to spill beans on you out. What you gonna do?
So I know that I don't know. I struggle with bringing or trying to express correction with certain women, and we have a blended family, and sometimes like my heart is in the right place, but I guess because like us, we're in situations like I'm right, you know what I'm saying? They don't receive it in a positive way, especially when it comes to the children. Like, how can I don't know, just be better at being a better example in expressing that correction way that is, suitable for the children and that their mothers get it and it's not like offensive.
I don't think you can make somebody get it. You get what I'm saying? When we're talking about inside of the body, we're all governed over a set of guidelines. So it's like, look, bro, either you with it or you ain't. When you're dealing with somebody that's not governed under those guidelines, you got to deal with them a little bit different. Because you can't expect for them to understand. You know what I'm saying? They their own individual. Can't expect for them to understand. The only thing you can do is your part. You make sure you handle what you supposed to handle, how you supposed to handle it. Everything else, fall on him. And how he handle everything if when he handled it properly, if the other party don't participate how they supposed to participate, you got to keep it pushing because you can't force them in no way or another to do what you want them to do. You know what I'm saying?
This is my question. So, say brother feels you in yours.
Hold on. Before you finish that question, you said, say if a brother offends you and yours, that's the first problem. If it offends our family. There we go.
And the pride leader went all the way up to control the pride leader. So you get to a point where you're like, you ain't on my head, and I don't want to make a person run off. Like, but some people can take kind of sensitive to certain things, and you hold it in, but it's kind of pain, but you try to hold it in from everybody. So they'll call the problem with the congregation. What is the right way forward?
So you said that somebody offended the family, right? Offended the family, and you don't want to necessarily approach them because they're sensitive, and you don't want them to leave, right? Because they're part of the family, right? Well, you holding it in don't do them no good, nor you any good, because they can't learn from what their mistake is if you don't tell them. And if it's bubbled up in you, it's going to eventually bust. And when it busts, what B says, like the water bottle, right? Whatever's in it, once, oh my God, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Once it busts, only thing that's going to come out is everything that was in there. You know what I'm saying? So what do you say? Open rebuke is better than what? Secret love.
Proverbs 25, 9. In fact, pick it up at 8.
Proverbs 25.
Proverbs 25, verse 8.
Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 8. Go not forth hastily to strive.
The what?
Go not forth hastily to strive.
So the approach is everything. Go not forth hastily to strive. Meekness is always the key. A soft answer do what?
Turns away wrath.
Turns away wrath. Read on.
Lest you know not what to do in the end thereof, when your neighbor hath put you to shame.
Go ahead.
Debate your cause with your neighbor himself.
Do what?
Debate your cause with your neighbor himself.
Whomever it is, it would be best to get the person alone. Therefore, ain't nobody here to stir up pride, because then we would have seen two people fighting, right? And if everybody walked away from them, guess what they would stop doing?
Stop fighting.
They would stop fighting, because it's only going on continuously because of the pride. I can't let you get the best of me in front of these people and make me look bad.
Yes, sir.
So it says, debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself. Read.
Debate your cause with your neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another.
So again, don't talk about it to other people or what's going on. Go to him and him alone. This is what the SEAC is talking about. If you got an ought with your brother, go to him and him alone. Then if he don't hear you, then we take 1 or 2 witnesses to try to get the thing resolved. Then if he don't hear you then, every time, let that brother go.
Regardless.
You know what I'm saying? Dust the feet off. So you handle your part of it. All right?
Yeah. Any more questions in here? Anybody? All right, let's go to the chat. If you see me, it says, if you were at my wedding. Oh, that's not a question. Okay, good. One moment. Oh, I see. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, we definitely pray for him. Yeah. You don't have it?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. We got a question. There we go. It says, is streaming fellowship? I would say if you're not in the area, it's definitely considered fellowship. And if you don't have nobody in your area that you trust to watch over your soul and to deal with on a daily basis, I would definitely not run to them just to fellowship. So yeah, definitely.
Question: what if it is your spouse and they're choosing to continue to be disobedient to the Lord?
What if it's your spouse and they're choosing to continue to be disobedient to Yahuwah? Well, we got a book for that. Pick up that Corinthians 7. Right. Pick it up at Corinthians 7. Mark. So you got something on that? What if it's your spouse and they're continuing to be disobedient to Yahuwah? If they be pleased to dwell with you, but if not, you gotta go. Yeah. Let's look at a couple scripts. Pick it up in 1 Corinthians 7, verse 10. Oh, the word. 1 Corinthians 7:10. So the question is, what if it's your spouse that's continuing to disobey the Most High? What do you do with that situation?
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 10. And unto the married I command you not I, but the master.
He said, I'm not commanding you, but the master. He's talking about Mashiach that's commanding us. Go ahead.
Let not the wife depart from her husband.
It says, let not the wife depart from her husband. Read.
But And if she depart,
and if she depart, do what?
let her remain unmarried,
Let her remain unmarried.
or be reconciled to her husband.
Uh-huh.
And let not the husband put away his wife.
Uh-huh.
But to the rest speak I, not the master. If any brother have a wife that believe not, and she be pleased to dwell with him,
And they be pleased to dwell with you, read.
let him not put her away. And the woman which hath a husband that believe not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him.
Uh-huh.
For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean.
So now when we look at this situation, he said, look, the commandment from Mashiach was, listen, if you're married, we don't want you to depart. But if you do, there's a guideline to it. It's the same, it will be the same as we're talking about with unbelievers in the congregation. Only difference is you actually have a covenant with this person forever. So he says, look, let her not depart, but if she depart, remain unmarried. You know what I'm saying? Till she be reconciled with her husband. Now, we do have other spots where it says, if the unbelieving depart, then you are not under such bondage and you're free to go. So you got to keep in mind all of these things. That's a statement. That's a statement. All right. We good? No more questions? You got another question? Oh, no more questions. Okay. All right. Let's pray out. We're going to eat.
Quick announcements.
Quick announcements.
Don't forget the gathering coming. We want to make sure we're gonna keep announcing that every single week. So let's get used to it. But the gathering is coming. We're gonna have a sheet up here for orders for the t-shirts. I don't know if everybody saw it, but if you want to see it, I'll show you a copy. I'll show you what it looked like. And then for everybody that's like watching the stream, we post a picture of it on Facebook. But yeah, so we'll be taking orders. So you don't have to like pay right now, but we'll be taking orders, and we just ask that within the next, let's say by the end of the month, that we get the money in by the end of the month. By the end of the month. Yes. Same. All right. Is there anything else? Sister Wanda, you got anything? No.
Everybody good?
Yes, I'm with you.
Go ahead. We did. Another date for the marriage thing is next Friday, 7 p.m. I talked with Brother Perry. Next Friday, what was I Emergency. Emergency. Okay. Yeah, so next Friday, 7 p.m., we'll be here doing the marriage session. So if you want to come, please come. If not, so be it. This time we will not stop it because people aren't here. So if you want to be a part of it, I encourage everybody to come that can, because this is not just for you, this is for other people that need it. All right? Remember, your testimony is somebody else's key. Your pain is somebody else's, you know what I mean? I don't have a word for that. I get it. We're here for each other. Emergence. Who plans on getting emergence? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Want
9,
to do it tomorrow?
10. We can do it tomorrow.
Yes, do it while it is hot. Nice and hot. Do not wait. There's a lot of people like to do it all the hot months and we wait. Oh man, it's November. I want to do it. Don't put Travis B through that.
The squad does not get in the water. When we got them long boots on, you gonna walk into that.
They're gonna be out there like a fly fisherman.
Yeah, go a little further. Go a little further. I'm praying for you. Go ahead. Keep going. No, but tomorrow. As soon as tomorrow. As early as possible.
Yeah, I won't usually like 10 a.m.
Yeah. 10 a.m. What Jason at? Jason, what time tomorrow for the fellas? 12. So if we can get it started at 10. Hey.
Say it to him.
Look at the mirror.
At 10 o'clock. Emergence tomorrow, 10 a.m.
So it was how many hands up? It was
At Belle.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
When is the next one? You got your hair done yesterday? We can do it next Sunday. Next Sunday. So
Right.
So we'll be there tomorrow. Come on out, and then the following Sunday we'll do it again. Y'all good with that? All right.
Recycle.
All right, y'all. With that, we say shalom.
Pastor Tammy.
Brother Larry, man, said his Elsie is at the hospital. She only got a couple hours to live. And his daughter, she just had a heart attack. She got some nerves, so it's like, Brother Larry, not that brother Larry.
Oh, the other there. Okay. All minds clear.
All minds clear?
What was
Sorry.
Father Yah, we stand before you, Father, with one heart, Father, with one mind, and one accord, Father, asking that you would incline your ear to our prayers, Father, that you would accept our petition, Father, and grant us the desires of our heart, Father. Father, we pray right now, Father, that you would just continue to watch over us, Father. Lead us and guide us in the righteousness, Father. Order our steps, Father, and be a light unto our path. Father, we pray that you would allow us to be vessels, Father, for your word to flow through, Father. That your Ruach will give us utterance, Father, to deliver a word of power and strength unto your people who may not know about your goodness, Father, who may still be walking in darkness, Father, that we would be able to reveal your marvelous light and the good news of your Son who came and shed his blood for the remission of our sins. Father, we pray right now a special prayer, Father, for those in need, Father, for Uncle Timmy, Father, for the family of Brother Kenneth Solomon, Father, for the family of Brother Larry, Father. We pray a special prayer, Father, asking that you would look upon them, Father. Father, that you would restore strength and health, Father, that you would renew life, Father, as you see fit, Father. Father, that you would comfort in a time of grief and need, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would just walk with them, Father, as they seek answers and guidance, Father, that you would be that answer, Father, that they would be ever present of mind, Father, to give you the esteem, Father, in all things. Father, we thank you, Father, for the word that went forth today, understanding, Father, that we must be one another's back. We must have one another's back. We must be one another's people, Father. We must watch over each other, Father, each other's children, Father, as family does, Father. We pray that our family will continue to grow closer, Father, as we continue to grow closer toward you, Father. Father, we pray that you just continue to impart wisdom upon each and every one of us, how to deal with these situations with our brothers and sisters, Father, so that family can remain family. Father, we pray that you would just continue to walk with us, Father. Allow us to be strengthened and be diligent unto your word according to your will, Father. This and all these things we pray and we give thanks. So be it. Abinu Shabbat Shemaim. Ikadosh. Shenkan. Sabo. Malkukat. Yease. Ratzonkan. Ma'aretz. Kashir. Nasha. Bashmaim. Tain Lanu. Kayom. Niki. Hikanu. Usla. Lanu. Eight. Ashmatenu. Kashir. Soki. Anaku. Lashir. Rashmu. Lanu. Wa'al. Taminu. Lede. Masai. Ki. E. Kasulani. Mi. Kara. Ki. Laka. Amam Laka. Wahagibura. Wahati Pare. Lome. Lami. So be it. Hallelujah. The offering is coming around. I believe so, yeah. We immersed in that Belle Isle, Detroit, downtown on Belle Isle, by the beach. If you are interested in coming, you're more than welcome. For anybody who would like to come out and be immersed tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Shalom.